Howdy, I'm Repton and this is Repton Does. Today we're going to be turning this into this. So let's get back to building since it doesn't happen with the magic of video editing like you just saw. So we're going to be adding a few hives to our apiary this year. And so I'm trying a few things out. I've got some waxed pieces, which means I won't have to paint. Got plenty of sort of traditional wooden pieces that we will paint. Couple of tips before you get started. When you have this quantity, you're probably going to want to look at some pneumatic tools instead of hand hammering. If you're going to do this, you definitely want to get started in the winter much earlier than I got started this year. Now this wax set did come with some screws and some pre-drilled holes, so we'll see how that goes. Excited to see what that kit looks like. Glue is key here. Make sure you've got yourself a good quality glue. Something that will stand up more for the outside, right? This is going to be outside, so don't get just traditional glue. And we're going to be a little sloppy with it. Glue is what's really holding this all together. It's not the nails and or staples that we're going to put in so much. Those are really there just to hold things together while the glue is setting. So we got a lot of work to do here. We're going to take it piece by piece, and I'll offer some tips along the way. One of the first ones, if you've got a lot of frames to build, building yourself something simple, frame jig to put things together. This one's super simple. Lots of bee places sell something like this. You can certainly build one yourself. They have some nicer ones that have spring-loaded pieces on the side. So it really just depends on kind of what you want. For me, just something simple to get started. Eventually, I may graduate to something a little bit nicer as I continue to build equipment. And then definitely, depending on where you get your stuff, there may be directions on how to put things together. There may not be. So my first hive was through an online sort of kit. It came with the bees. It came with the hive, all the woodenware for the hive, chemicals, everything really to get started. But it didn't have a lot of great directions on how to assemble things. It had all the nails and everything. And so for some of my frames, I don't have this side nail that really kind of helps hold some things together. Now, I've not had any trouble with it. I was generous with glue. But you want to make sure you don't just do those nails through the top and the bottom. Those really are not helping other than to hold in place for the glue. You're going to want something going in, sort of perpendicular to those side pieces that would actually give some grip with the weight of everything that we're going to have on here from the bees. So just keep that in mind. If you have some directions, great. If you don't, take a look at a video, whether it's mine or somebody else's, really doesn't matter, but save yourself a headache later when it's full of honey or full of brood. You're not going to want to be trying to repair one of these frames and potentially lose bees or honey, or lose the comb, right? Lose all that wax. That's like gold in this business. So definitely take a look and make sure you're assembling them correctly and that you're building something that'll be strong and last at least a few years, and you can continue to maintain as you go. So with that, let's get to it. All right, so I'm pretty excited about this particular kit. This is wax dipped, so I don't know if you'll be able to see this well, but depending on the reflection in the light, you might see it glitter a little bit, especially around the wood grain. You can see a little texture there maybe. So this means we will not be painting. Like I said, this particular kit came with some pre-drilled screws that are recessed, so pretty nice actually. We'll see how this goes together. I don't use screws much for this kind of stuff, but we will be in this case. These are pretty straightforward to put together, so not too much to worry about, especially if you're buying a kit. Then the biggest thing you have to worry about is making sure your handles line up and that you're putting it together so that your frames could rest. And then perhaps the only other thing you might have to worry about is if it's square, right? So if you're not making your own equipment, which for some of these boxes, unless you're just making so many, it's not cost effective, right? If you have to go to Lowe's or Home Depot and buy this lumber, I do recommend you get a square of some sort just to check and square the box up before you screw it together. So we'll go ahead and get cranking on this and maybe speed things up a little bit so you don't have to watch me build the whole time. But again, get a square, fit your pieces together and then screw it all up. So here we go. Make sure you're checking for your glue inside, right? We're being a little sloppy with it, so you're likely to have some. Make sure you just wipe it all off. Get the excess glue off. Again, we want enough glue, right? Do not be skimpy on your glue and then have this really depending on nails or screws to hold it together. You will be quite sad if that's your situation. All right, let's just make sure this looks pretty square. Yep. I'm already not happy with that screw, right? So be gentle with it, but it already cracked that wood. So this is, again, I would not use screws for this, but that's the way this kit is set up. So now something occurs to me as I was kind of finishing up this box. I mean, this is dipped in wax, right? So I don't know that the glue will be all that effective on this particular box because it's got wax all over it, right? So that's perhaps why they rely on the screws. We'll just have to see. I do like the look of this. I'm anxious to see it out in the yard, the raw wood look. I'm a big fan of that. So I'm not sure how well this is going to hold up, and not sure that the glue mattered at all. It might have been a total waste given that this is covered in wax. Glue is certainly not going to stick to the wax, and it's not going to eat through it either. So like I said, might have been a waste, and might be why they're using the screws here. Never used a wax dipped hive before. This is my first one. Did want to try it out since we're adding to the yard. Much more familiar with the raw wood and painting the outside. Just wanted to add that quick comment, just in case some of you were looking at it going, wow, what a bozo, he's gluing wax. Did occur to me a little late after I'd glued up 2 boxes, but yeah, I could see where that might be why the screws are used in this type of kit. So we finished the wax box. Hive's over there, you probably can't see it, it's a little dark, but we'll get it up here for everybody to see. So now we're going to move to more traditional, well, I don't know about traditional, but just raw wood, woodenware. That's what my current hive is now, and that's what we're going to be building for the next. So I've got 5 boxes. I'm moving to an all deep configuration for my hives. Now that kit I bought had a medium on it, so I have a medium from my other hive as well, and I'll find ways to use those. But in general, I'm sort of standardizing on all deep equipment. So I've got these 5 boxes to build. That'll end up giving me the 3 hives that I need, plus a couple extra boxes. Hopefully we're going to get some honey this year. The bees that made it through the winter in my one hive that we started with last year, they're doing awesome. Lots of pollen coming in, a little bit of nectar, but we should be getting onto the nectar flow here in another couple of weeks in North Carolina. So super excited about that. So this definitely, unlike with my other, where I did glue those wax boxes and I think probably did not matter, this is raw wood. You definitely will want to glue these. Glue is what's really going to hold it together. The bees are going to help some too. They're going to propolize everything, but really glue these up well. Put some good glue on them. The nails are there really to hold things together while the glue sets. So with that, let's get these 5 boxes built. All right, making good progress. We got our 5 deeps built, glued, nailed together, and pretty square. So we're checking that along the way. I don't check all of them, right? This is not furniture making. This is beehive making. The bees are going to really clean this up. They're going to seal up a few of those gaps. We just want to make something that's going to last once we get some paint on it outside. at least for a few years, right? This is not something that's permanent given what it has to do and survive in sort of those outside conditions. So we still got a lot of frames left to build. We're going to get hammering away on that, and then of course you can get a little better view of the hive we finished. This is that wax dipped one. Like I said, excited to try that out. I do like the look. The paint's cool, and my wife and kids are planning to decorate our new hives this year, so that'll be neat as well. So just going to get into finishing up these frames, and then we're kind of ready for bee season. Let's get to it. All right, so this is called a frame jig. And the idea is you can put your pieces on the side here. We can get 10 of them. Definitely want to use glue here, raw wood, right? So we'll be generous with the glue. We can put all our tops in, get nails or staples. If you are hand nailing these, I definitely recommend you get something to help you hold it. I use a lot of 3D printed stuff, so you can get one off of Thingiverse. It's a little nail holder, so you're not beating your fingers up while you're hammering these in. If you're using pneumatic tools, which I will be using today, just, be careful, right? You don't want nails or staples. I'm going to be using staples coming in through the sides. You want them inside, right? This is all for the bee, so we want it in the wood. And again, these are really held together with the glue, not the staples or nails that we're going to put in here. The staples and nails, other than one we're going to drive through the side, are really just holding things together while we're letting the glue dry. Okay, so let's get some glue in here. Again, we're going to be messy with the glue because we don't want this to fall apart later, and pretty easy to wipe a little glue off. As you can see, I have a lot of frames to build. So depending on how many you have, pneumatic tools might be the only way to go. If you're just doing one hive, you're just getting started, and you've got 10, 20 frames, probably not all that big a deal. If you're starting to get into 50, 60 frames, and you're thinking this might be something you want to do more, whether it's just backyard, which is all I'm doing in the backyard, might want to start thinking about some pneumatic tools to help you out and speed it up a little bit. Definitely a great task in the evenings when the weather's not great, when the bees aren't doing much, wintertime. If you've got a place where a shop that you can work inside and not have to be out in the cold, that would be great. So yeah, let's get to it. Let's put these together. Doing this might be a good time to talk foundation. If you're going to use foundation, some people do go frameless. I started with plastic foundation, and I am going to continue with that. In bee school this year, we did assemble one frame. This one actually would need the tensioning still done to it, but this is a wax frame, so this piece here is actually all wax. It's not plastic. I am going to put this into one of my hives, and I'm going to put it on the outside edge where it takes them a little longer to draw comb, and see if this is more attractive to them and they want to come get after this comb or get after this frame ahead of some of the other ones that are plastic. Because I might do this in the brood chamber. I definitely don't think I would do this up in the honey supers. This seems pretty fragile. People talk about them breaking when you put them in an extractor. So it would not be what I do there, but I might put it in the brood chamber if it's going to encourage them to draw comb out quicker down there. So we've got our 10 frames in here. Got our staple gun, and we are just going to... All right, I want to talk about nailing these up a little bit. So quite often you might hear different approaches for nailing them up. Because I'm using staples, I'm going to use one on the top, I'll use one on the bottom, and then we're going to come through the side as well. You have to be careful. So you can see here, let's get it in the light. Came on the outside, so we're going to have to take care of that. So just be careful that you're getting in the middle, not on this outside edge as you're stapling or nailing. We'll take care of that later, no problem. So sometimes if you're nailing, you'll want to put two in the top all the way across, and then you'd want to do same deal, two in the bottom, and then you're going to come in from this side here, actually up this way. So 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Sometimes you'll hear it called 8-2, and then you're going to go one in here and one through here. So as I mentioned, I am team plastic for the moment. This is this is already covered in beeswax. They're plastic frames, and after you get your frame assembled, these will just sort of pop in. So if you drop it in that bottom groove and then just slide it on over, make sure you get it in that top groove, and it should slide back and forth. So if it slides easy back and forth, then you've got it all the way in there. So we'll go ahead and get these other ones done.
Here we are, 7 supers later and about 100 frames all assembled. We've got a little bit of painting left to do, and then it goes down in the yard for some bees. So we'll be making a split into one, and then we're bringing in 2 additional packages of bees. So should go into the winter hopefully with 4 really strong hives, and hopefully get some honey production this year. So that's it for this episode. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.